You got yourself a date or a meeting with a beautiful woman, and now you want to make a great time with her. So, what to do then? Well, at this moment, you just don't know what to talk about. You just don't know how to make a great conversation or how to make that meeting feel great. What activities should you come up with? And now you are worried because you really want to make something happen with that woman. You want to take things further romantically. I feel you, and I'm here to help you as much as I can. So, the first thing we have to look at is what makes a great first impression? What makes her feel exceptionally good being with you for the first time, and hopefully the second time and third time and so on? What what is the facts here? What does the science say? Well, the science are saying that if you want to make anyone feel at best when you are with them, is to make it about them. So let's say you take her for a coffee shop and now you're going to have a conversation. The first thing you might think about is how you are going to present yourself and how you are going to joke about things, how you are going to be funny, playful, and all those things. How to become a good storyteller so she, becomes really intrigued, with you telling all those interesting stories. But now you are on the wrong direction. That is not what gives the best influence. It is when you are asking the right questions and let her talk with you being a listener. So if you want to make that date, that meeting as best as possible, based on her perspective, then you're going to make it about her. You're going to make it about that woman. That is the mindset, all right? You're going to be the one who is very curious. You're going to be the one who is the explorer, the one to discover the unknown in her life. That's the mindset. But what about the behaviors? So let's say now that you're not a schooled conversationalist. You just don't know all those techniques to make a conversation going. Well, I'm going to give you a couple of tips here that you can bring with you right now if you're going to meet that woman in a couple of days, maybe even today. So, urgently, I definitely advise you to learn a series of questions. All right? Questions that take things to depth. A couple of favorites of mine is one, how does a perfect weekend look like for you? And then you're quiet. That will in some way take things into slight depth because she have to tell you what a perfect weekend looks like. Then normally I ask, how does a perfect day looks like for you? Another one that I love to use is, what country would you like to live in if money and job didn't matter? Let's say you could work over there. Which city have you been thinking about? Which country? I love that question. It's everyone wants to live somewhere. Everyone wants to be in a different country. Everyone wants to, in some way, just travel and explore the world. So this is a great conversational starter that is about the other person if you ask that question. And the other one is the root of life. I just love to pull that one off as well. It's like, if you could change the direction of your life, let's say 10 years ago, how do you think your life would look like today? Me personally, for example, when I went to high school, way back, I did studied science. All right, that was my major in high school. But if I could go back in time and change that, I probably would go towards acting because that was my passion. Not acting itself, but I just loved TV series, movies, and all that. And my dream as a younger self was to become an actor. But I didn't choose that route. Instead, I chose science. And even today, I start thinking about how things would have looked like if I chose the route of becoming an actor instead, acting in theaters to start with, and then trying to chase, you know, B roles in movies and so on, and then maybe an A role and all that kind of. It's almost like a sport, right? I'm very curious to see how my life will pan out. Those are a couple of examples that actually bring the conversation down to depth and become interesting. So you have to look at maybe 10 questions that you need to have in your head. In worst case scenario, just write them down on a paper. And then when you go into the men's room, you can just check out which question you want to ask her about and then go back to the meeting again. Obviously, this is not an optimal scenario, but if you don't have time, this is an urgency, asking questions is one of the best way you can do things. Remember one thing though, if you ask questions like, if you could change the route of your life, let's say you go back 10 years and then you just change something there, have you been thinking about how your life would look like today? And what would it be? What would the change of route be? Well, obviously you have to tell her your version as well, like what you would change 10 years back. So that is more like a ping pong play. You might even tell her first about what you would change, and then you ask the follow-up question, what about you? What would you change? And so on. So you need to have the flow of sharing, asking, sharing, asking. Let's say now that you are not in urgency. You're not in urgency. You just want to know in general how to make a great first impression in a meeting or a date. Well, again, it's about to make the other person in the spotlight, make the whole thing about them. And if you want to be an expert in that part, you need to become a conversationalist. That's what you need to do. A true conversationalist that put a lot of empathy in conversations, and empathy means understanding. Not compassion, not sympathy, just understanding. You want to understand other people. And the only way to understand them is to ask them questions and let them talk about things in depth. Then you start understanding them. And there's a lot of great tools to make sure that it doesn't sound like an interview, to make sure that you very naturally take things into depth without any kind of suspicious behavior, so to speak. There's a lot of great things there to learn. And if you're interested to learn this, check my website out. It's in the description. And becoming a great conversationalist will have so many benefits in your life that you will be just amazed. Anyway, guys, I hope you like this video. Like, subscribe. That will mean a lot to my channel. And I'll see you in the next video.